Hi YouTube, welcome to my new video. Yesterday we didn't talk about decks, we didn't talk about gameplay, we were just yapping a little bit about the blog post that got announced, but today I am back with some very cool decks for you. So in the past few days I have shown you some decks already, but there's one class I haven't really mentioned that much yet, and it's Druid. And I think it's time we start talking about Druid, because in the new expansion in Perils in Paradise, Druid decks are pretty good. There are like four different Druid decks that you can play that I have seen on ladder, that I have played on ladder a little bit as well. So you can just pick whichever playstyle you like the most. So we're going to be talking about four decks today: Dragon Druid, Highlander Druid, the Zilliax Druid, and the Combo Druid. And I have tested all of them for you. I will tell you later which I think is the best and which one I like the most. But for now, we're going to just have a look at all the lists first. Uh, this is the Dragon Druid. It looks kind of similar to the one people already played before Perils came out. You have like all the dragon synergy. It's a good tempo. Marin, of course, staple in the deck right now. ANR, Yogg. And basically, you just want to tempo out all your dragons and ramp, make it to the big late game with ANR, Yogg, Zilliax. You know how it works. Don't think we need to be talking about this deck too much because it's quite similar to the previous one. The only new card I see in here actually is Marin, but we already had that one because we got it early. And one hydration station. Oh, sorry, and the new heights because you want some more ramp. So what you do with the deck is basically first you ramp, you play your dragons, then later on you will play your Zilliax. It's the Unkilliax version with the elusive, poisonous, reborn, divine shield, taunt, lifesteal rush. You know all all the keywords. And then later you can resummon it with hydration station. But because this deck isn't focused only around resurrecting the Zilliax, you don't have, there's only one copy of it in the deck. Don't even know if you really need it because you already have so much tempo and stuff with all the dragons, but it's not bad to include it anyway, just to have like an extra way of finishing the games early. I played this deck on ladder this morning before making the video and I went 5-0 with it. It felt really strong still. But the only problem I have with it is that it's basically an old deck with one or two new cards. And that's why we are going to move on to the next one, which is Highlander. This is actually a deck I have faced on ladder quite a bit, but I didn't actually find any deck lists anywhere, not any good deck lists. So what I did is I saw Jambray was playing this on ladder and in a tournament yesterday. So I quickly yoinked his list and changed a few cards. And then I am ready to show you the Highlander. But this is based on Jambray's deck. The only thing I changed is I added the Sky Mother Aviana in it because I think a lot of the games right now, the decks are quite greedy. So sometimes you need like that little extra push in the late game, and I think the Aviana is really good for that. But that's not a new card. You know already how that works. There's a Gorgon Zormu in this list. Ideally, you play this as early as you can, so you can ramp up your two cost cheese, right? And then personally, it depends a bit on the matchup, but in some matchups, you just want to play the cheese quite early on, like get 3-4 drops for good tempo, for example. If you're in longer matchups against like Rainbow DK or Warrior, I prefer keeping it in hand just like a little bit longer because you have a lot of other things to do anyway. And try to get like 7, 8, 9, even 10 drops sometimes. I don't know if games actually go on for that long, but you could try it. We have the Turtle and Traveler in here. There's a couple of taunt minions in the deck that you can draw. There's Fi, there is Zilliax, obviously. There is the Desert Nest Matron as well. So it will always draw you a good card at least. And this is a new one. Oh, and also Dozing Dragon is a new addition. This is a very cool card, I think, because it's dormant. And in the past, dormant cards, they just didn't really do much. But lately, the team changed it so that cards with dormant also have an effect while dormant, which makes them so much better. And this one is dormant for 2 turns. So for 2 turns in a row, this will summon a 3/5 dragon with taunt at the end of your turn, protecting the rest of your board or your face if you really need it. What else do we have? Obviously Rheastraza, because you're Highlander, you need to get that value. It's still very good. And not that many other new cards. Sleep Under the Stars. It's a bit situational what you want to use. When I play it, I usually go at least for draw once, right? So just to refill the hand. But then either refresh or gain armor. If you're like in a very aggro-y matchup, you might need the armor just to survive to your bigger turns with the ANR and the Zilliax, and then just go for that. That's fine too. Anything else we need to talk about here? No, I think we're all good with this one. It's quite the same idea as the previous Highlander Druid that was already a thing in Standard before Perils. So moving on, we got Zilliax Druid. This list looks a little bit similar to the Dragon Druid, but this one doesn't play any of the burn spells. There's no swipes or anything like that. So this one is more focused on drawing your Zilliax and then just resummoning it as many times as you can. There's 2 hydration stations in the list. So this is really just get your Zilliax on the board, kill it off, and then just resurrect it a bunch of times. This list does not run Fizzle, but if you tend to queue into a lot of greedier long matchups, for example, again, the Rainbow DK is very popular, Warrior is popular, or even in the mirror, maybe you could consider attacking a Fizzle in your list just to have the extra value and try to get like extra copies of the hydration station in your Fizzle just to have that like extra punch in very, very long games. But again, this is not a very complicated deck to play. I think all you really want to do is ramp into your Zilliax, draw it obviously, and then just resurrect the Zilliax, and Defy also, if you can, is a good one to resurrect next to the Zilliaxes. And then we are going to the last deck, which is Combo Druid. This is actually a completely new archetype because the Concierge lets you play all your cards from another class for 1 less. So you have, for example, the Go with the Flow and the Sea Breeze Chalice, which will help you OTK quite easily actually once the Concierge is on the board. So what you want to do is basically in the early game just try to tempo a little bit, play your dragons, collect your combo pieces, and then in the mid game you just try and set up your OTK. You play the Concierge together with any of your spell damage stuff, and if you can, go for a swipe with the Malfurion's Gift or with just a swipe in your deck just to clear off the board a little bit as well before playing your Sea Breezes, so that those Sea Breezes can just all hit the enemy face and kill them off. If you need more copies, you can try to have the Tide Pool Pupil in your hand as well, so you can play this in the middle of your combo to get more Sea Breezes, for example. It's quite straightforward. Maybe you'll need a couple of tries on ladder just to like get the hang of it, because it is a combo focused deck and you don't want to like waste combo stuff if you don't have to. So just there's a fine line between trying to survive and just wasting combo stuff. One mistake I see people make when they're playing is that they tend to go for the combo a little bit too early on and then are not able to OTK. So I think you don't really look for the combo pieces in your mulligan, right? Because there's other stuff you are looking for, the dragons, some ramp, and you will draw your combo pieces quite easily anyway, especially once you have the Chia Drakes in your hand and you draw the spells, and most of the combo stuff is spells. So that would be my advice, just to not go for a very early combo and focus on collecting your dragons, playing your dragons, and tempoing out first. Okay, so that was the 4 decks I wanted to talk about today. I think any of them are pretty good on ladder, so just take your pick. I'm gonna tell you my favorite out of these 4 was just the regular Dragon Druid, because I already enjoyed playing it before Perils, and it's still really, really good. I told you I went 5-0 with it just this morning on ladder. I'm gonna try the other ones a little bit more. But anyway, I'm gonna stop talking now, and I'm gonna let you pick a deck. Let me know which one you decide you wanted to go for, and I will see you again tomorrow. Bye!